Welcome to game 2 of this series. This is going to be Captain Price again versus Challenger Luvnest. Luvnest, pretty impressive performance in game 1. Read his opponent like a book, threw out that T-34, shut down the flak half-track opening hard. Despite the flak half-track giving Luvnest a lot of early trouble, because he had gone tier 1, it didn't seem to make that much difference. Captain Price didn't set up enough of an offensive containment to shut down Luvnest's fuel economy. He got the T-34 out very quicker than he was able to protect with that Jagdpanzer. He didn't spend any manpower on Rakettenwerfers or mine placement to protect that flak half-track, and that T-34 gunned it down so easily. And from that point forward, Captain Price was on the back foot and never able to recover. So good decision by Luvnest right there. Easily won him the game. In this game, of course, the factions are switched. Luvnest playing as Ostherr instead of Oberkommando West, so we are going to see the classic KO2 matchup against Captain Price's shock rifle strategy. Going with the tier 2 opening, probably. I guess he skipped the Maxim against Red Wings. I'm not sure if he's going to go back to his normal strategy against Price or not, because it does appear to have been modified slightly. Combat Engineers working on the center. Conscripts working on various territories, Grenadiers working on various territories, and we're going to see a 3 Grenadier opening. No machine gun from Luvnest yet, and Luvnest has fielded Lightning War, Elite Troops, and Mechanized Assault. Pretty standard stuff. I don't know if I've ever seen Luvnest go Elite Troops. In fact, we've barely seen it in this tournament. Makes me kind of wonder why it was ever banned from tournaments in the first place. It doesn't seem very popular.
Fresh conscripts have arrived.
I mean, I do think the Tiger Ace is pretty ridiculous, but at the same time, in competitive play, it barely seems to hit the field. And when it does, high-level players seem to be able to manage it pretty okay. We've only seen the Tiger Ace once in one series, which was Lemon versus Red Wings, and Red Wings was spamming assault engineers, so I hardly count that series as a valid example of the Tiger Ace being overpowered. I don't know what I think about that. Mechanized Assault, of course. The Stugie's pretty ridiculous. And Lightning War we've seen many times. We'll probably see it again many times. Very popular. Very solid Ostherr commander at all stages of the game, not just at 15 command points.
Soviet HQ now includes a field hospital, but only for those who are seriously wounded.
I was working on the strategic point here. Grenadiers moving to take control of the victory point. Grenadiers grabbing the church. Pretty hesitant, pretty light engagements, very little manpower bleed exchange on either side. Wiring off this approach. Looks like there have only been 4 and 3 models lost. Apparently 2 and 5 down here. Why are these numbers not, like, reversed? Was there some friendly fire already? There's not even any flamethrowers or anything on the field. How could this even possibly be correct? I don't understand, Relic. Help me understand.
Waiting for your command. Area secure.
I don't get it. How? How did that even happen? How does he have 4 kills and his opponent have 2? I don't get it. Whatever. All right. Sure. Now there's a flamethrower on the field.
We need to re-establish our supply lines.
Conscripts working on the north victory point.
Comrades, the point is ours.
Grenadiers setting up in green cover, machine gun covering the center victory point. Barbed wire going up right there. Luvnest continuing to play quite defensively. He's pretty comfortable in his current map control situation. He probably would like to have a second victory point, but as of right now, things could be worse. His late game may or may not be able to stack up against Price's IS-2 spam later on. Not sure what Price is going to start fielding next. He's got 2 flamethrowers and his 3 conscripts. From here, against Red Wings, he started spamming field guns. I don't know if he's going to do that against Luvnest, though. I guess we'll see. Flamethrowers making a push for the south. Conscripts circling around to help against those grenadiers before they stop the clock. Looks like they're going to get it stopped at least briefly. MG42 in the church. Or no, LMG42 in the church. Does little. Yeah, this MG actually backed off away from the victory point for whatever reason.
Territory is out of contact.
Rifle grenade on that flamethrower doesn't actually do all that much. LMG set up right there to fire on the flamethrower as he crosses into the road. Ooh, that burst through the hedge. Look at that. Nails one of those grenadiers. MG42 still hasn't moved up into close range. It's repositioning now, and the center victory point will fall back into Price's control before he immediately retreats. Grenadiers set up to fire on those. Flamethrower combat engineers will succeed in convincing them to retreat, and Luvnest should be able to get this area back under control. And if he makes a push for the north, he will find it largely undefended by anything other than one squad of conscripts in the building. And Price has indeed gone with a field gun. Look at this. I don't know if I think this is going to work against Luvnest. It seemed to work okay against Red Wing's 3 MG42 opening. I don't know if it's going to work against what Luvnest is planning, which appears to be a half-track next to give him an aggressive forward position. I don't know if Captain Price's field gun positioning is going to be able to take that half-track out or not. It's going to come down to positioning. We saw Captain Price execute some really nice anti-tank gun positioning against Luvnest in their last series. On crossing in the woods, Luvnest lost a Strug E, a half-track, a Tiger, I think, all kinds of stuff, to sitting in front of Captain Price's field guns for just a second too long. So he's going to have to be more careful this series if he wants to take it. Curious to see what's going to happen. Price is taking back control of the north cutoff to get his income going again. This point also being taken. Field gun might consider destroying some of that wire. Using it just for back capping for now seems a reasonable thing to do. MG42 with mortar, 2 grenadiers working on the middle. Pretty strong Oster combined arms force right here. This is going to be difficult for Price to take on without first destroying that half-track somehow. It is noticeably missing a minesweeper though. If that half-track were to hit a mine, that would be bad, or if even these grenadiers were to fall particularly low to mines, that would be bad. But Price is pretty much making a full retreat right now. He is going to lose control of his cutoff again and be in a pretty rough situation. AT gun makes its way to the engagement, misses its first shot against that half-track. There's the shock troops, by the way. Cutoff will fall to Luvnest. AT gun is trying to get into position safely. There's the AT grenade. Look at that. Just ran right up and nailed him. Half-track trying to get to safety. That squad of grenadiers is forced to retreat. MG42 is a little late to make it to this engagement. Smoke grenade deployed to prevent these shocks from being suppressed. Mortar generally landing off target, and grenadiers are taking too much damage to safely continue engaging, and that half-track's in a lot of danger as the field gun moves up to take it out with nothing to screen except for maybe lucky mortar hits. MG42 is going to reposition a little bit. Luvnest looks like he will get away, but that push kind of got shut down. Fell apart a little bit thanks to that smoke grenade, thanks to a slightly late MG42 positioning, thanks to the mortar not landing any good hits, and the half-track also not quite pulling back to safety away from the AT grenade in time, and the grenadiers falling too low to shock troops closing into short range. So a lot of things had to happen during that engagement for Captain Price to take it. Fortunately, he was able to pull that one off, and he's made a full retreat regardless because he wanted to get some healing done, so he doesn't really gain or lose any map control other than restoring his cutoff, which is of course important. But the game's just basically going to continue without really any territory changing hands, and Luvnest is going battle phase 2, so he's gonna get tier 3 out. He knows Price is gonna stall for Collins, and he's gonna try and punish him for that decision again. But it's a lot harder to punish Soviets for that decision than to punish Oberkommando West for going Jagdpanzer, Flak half-track into Jagdpanzer. He's gonna have to make a very dramatic impact with his Panzer IV or Ostwind or whatever, and try and completely shut down Price's fuel economy before he can collect the resources for an IS-2, which is pretty much impossible. He's gonna get the resources for an IS-2. It's pretty much a foregone conclusion unless you can set up an offensive containment on a Soviet player within the first few minutes of the game and hold it forever. Conscripts in the church take heavy damage from a mortar. They'll be forced to retreat. This push by the Grenadiers just doesn't have the firepower he needs. He just needs more Grenadier blob. Mortar bombarding this area. Shock troops easily overwhelm Luvnest and force a full retreat again, and harassment forces in the south take control of the victory and munitions while Luvnest is not defending and trying to mobilize all forces here towards the center. The north strategic and munitions points are falling into Price's control. Half-Track is trying to harass those shock troops with its machine gun. It's not really accomplishing much of anything other than leaving itself extremely vulnerable. If it doesn't kite those conscripts, I think it's going to go down here. I'm not sure if he can survive this. He coasts behind the building just outside that field gun's line of fire. That might save him. That road speed boost might save him, but he's kind of making an awkward maneuver here, thinking he might go down to small arms fire. He has no infantry to screen his retreat. Pretty sure he's going to lose this half-track. He picks a commander, he picks elite troops just so that he can pop smoke on his half-track, desperately trying to get to safety, but it's not going to work. Grenadiers try and block pathing, conscripts get suppressed. There's the AT grenade, he needs a crit! No death crit, gets out of control. And the half-track goes down. I don't know what I think about that panic commander selection. I don't know what I think about that. It was clearly not enough to save him. In that instance, I don't know if I feel like saving a half-track is enough to merit the pick of elite troops, but it will be chosen, and we will see if it can stack up. Can stack up against Price's IS-2 spam. We'll find out. He's gonna need to hit the field hard and fast with that Tiger Ace when it does become available to him. That mortar just got a miracle wipe on those conscripts in green cover, though. Vet 2 with 13 kills. Apparently, it's been having a pretty dramatic impact. Price now down to 2 squads of conscripts from his original 3. Still has 3 flamethrowers. I think that might be his first wipe. I think that might be the only wipe of the game, in fact, now that I'm thinking about it. Just to a really lucky mortar. And Luvnest is going Ostwind rather than Panzer IV. A little bit of a risky play. It means he's pretty much just going to try and be as effective as possible with it before the IS-2s arrive. Looking at his own command points, he knows he's still got some time. 12.5 minutes in. That IS-2 is not going to be here for a while. He's going to have a long time where that Ostwind can contribute meaningfully. And Price has gotten 2 field guns out from whatever manpower he's managed to float in the course of infantry engagements. He's going to be hurting for manpower a little bit, having lost that full squad of cons. And he's probably going to be hurting even more once this Ostwind starts bleeding these flamethrowers. That blob walked right into an MG42. Nice positioning by Luvnest for that engagement. MG42 will be forced to retreat right there, but not before suppressing those cons and forcing another retreat. Mortar's going to retreat from a 3-man squad in the church, but the conscripts in turn probably going to be forced away quite soon. A lot of stuff got forced off the field just now, and the squad in the church might just get wiped right here. I don't see any mines in the retreat path. He could probably chase that to death, and I think he intends to. Grenadiers in the house finish off the squad, and Grenadiers want to punish the Grenadiers inside this house, which should get out, by the way. I'd hate to see the Ostwind blow up the house and kill his own Grenadier squad. He does leave the building. Ostwind falls to half health, thanks to nice field gun positioning from Price, as always. And an MG42 moves up into the fuel point. Grenade tossed right there to protect from the Ostwind. Grenadiers don't have much health to work with, neither do the shock troops. Could come down to model losses. MG42 contributing a lot of damage with that long-range damage buff. Look at that. Very nice. Drops one of those shock models like it's nothing. Grenadiers take no damage at all, and will continue to hold this position, if only briefly. Field gun moving up with Pio support. Notice that another full squad of conscripts has died. Captain Price's manpower suffering as he replaces losses, continues to reinforce. If he bleeds a lot of manpower like this, it makes it harder and harder to get that IS-2 on the field. Look at the map. Look at the effect that Ostwind has had. And Luvnest is taking engagements left and right. Nice rifle grenade right there. He's going to bleed even more manpower, I think. Grenadiers will retreat rather than trying to take that because he doesn't want to lose this Grenadier squad retreating through that giant flamethrower blob. And he will be able to get away. Grenadiers need to move up and take control of the center. VP Price feeling very boxed in by that Ostwind, having lost so much. 2 infantry squads, getting bullied by the Ostwind, bullied by the MG42s. Really nice positional play by Luvnest here in infantry and team weapon engagements is shutting Price down hard. Not sure why he just made that full retreat though. I felt like he was probably going to win that engagement, but with the Ostwind moving to support, he probably didn't want to just take any unnecessary risks. More defenses being shorn up here in the north. S minefields going down to try and punish Price's decision to go with only flamethrowers. He has no minesweepers. He does not have any way of getting those things cleared up because he has no vehicles and no minesweepers. He'll be forced to spend even more manpower to clear up S minefields. And he is in a rough situation, completely contained. Huge containment right now. MG42 on the fuel. Grenadiers working the south. The south is probably the weakest right now. I think that's where Captain Price is going to go next. Pretty good defense setup here in the center with an AT gun and MG42 protecting. Nice mortar right there. MG42 will have to reposition away from that. Smoke grenade. Flamethrowers heading south with field gun support. The Ostwind moving in on the north flank. Hovering in this S-mine field for now. It still has not been repaired and is only 1 volley from death from those field guns, so he needs to keep that in mind and be careful with it. This aggressive push by Price will wipe a machine gun. The Ostwind is getting very aggressive. What is it doing? Barely gets around the corner in time to protect it from that second shot. It is 1 hit from death. It exposes itself to this conscript squad over here, which might get wiped if he doesn't throw that AT grenade soon. There it goes. Engine damage on the Ostwind. Ostwind is probably dead. Ostwind trying to inflict massive casualties while it has the chance. Full con squad wiped. Combat engineers wiped. 1 more. No! Main gun destroyed. I don't think this is going to get away. Slowly, he pops smoke just to desperation, trying to save his vehicles so desperately from these AT guns, but I'm pretty sure he's dead. Although it may cost Price his field guns. Look at that grenade and that mortar hit. Huge. He's going to disengage. He's actually going to disengage, and he's lost everything. Everything is dying. He does not have the manpower to sustain these losses at all. Field gun wiped. So many squads wiped. No manpower for the IS-2, and he doesn't even have 11 command points yet. Look at this containment. Wow. What a performance by Luvnest this game. Pretty impressive stuff. Let's check some kills. Oyster Mortar has 20 kills. Ostwind actually only has 10. Neither MG really has that many kills. That one's got 6. LMG Grens have 13. And you can tell that it's a combined arms, really just combined arms play working when no one unit really particularly stands out. Just lots of kills stacked up on a whole bunch of different squads. I think that mortar paid off big time. That was definitely a good call, especially once it secured him that early lucky wipe, and from there it's just been getting worse. S-minefield going down on this point. We do see a minesweeper purchased by Captain Price, and he has fielded a KV-8. Interesting choice. He can't wait any longer for an IS-2, I guess. This is the best he can do to try and turn things around. Yeah, Ostwind still hasn't received repairs, but KV-8 will just die to the Tiger Ace, basically. S-minefield snags a couple shock troops. He didn't quite notice that one. That S-minefield. KV-8 making its way to the front line to do what it can. There's 2 AT guns on the field, a stolen field gun and a Pack 40. KV-8's already taken a bit of damage and needs to repair here by these combat engineers. Very, very feeble push by Captain Price. His attempt to break his containment is just 5 units strong. Panzer IV has been fielded by Luvnest in addition to this Ostwind. Couple squads harassing, planting more S-mine fields, getting more territory under control over here in the south. Panzer IV moves up to fire on the KV-8, gets a shot off, giving him instant Vet 1. I think he popped elite troop training on that Panzer IV. Gives it a bit of a boost. Smoke grenade toss right there. The Ostwind receiving repairs in the back will be available to engage again soon. With only one field gun, Captain Price is just hurting so bad.
Anti-tank gun is ready. IS-2 heavy. The enemy has cut off a sector. We have secured the area. The enemy is taking what we have secured.
Grenadiers forced to retreat. Their Panzerfaust bounces off the frontal armor of that KV-8. It may not matter. It looks like Luvnest wants to get aggressive, moving field guns up into position. Grenadiers moving to support as well.
The enemy is encroaching on our territory.
Panzer IV moving around the flank. KV-8 is falling so low. There it goes. Panzer IV doesn't even need to flank. AT guns on the frontal armor are sufficient. That KV-8 is destroyed without even making any real impact on this battlefield. That field gun's about to get cleared. Ostwind working on infantry on the right side. LMG Grenadiers working on conscripts. Everything getting cleaned up, although that Panzer IV actually goes down. He failed to circle strafe that AT gun to death. And Panzer IV is destroyed. Bit of a small victory there for Price. Ostwind takes a heavy burst of damage and needs to pull back as well. Rifle grenade. Huge rifle grenade. Nails that AT gun. Grenadiers moving up to finish the job from this angle, and it is cleared.
Infantry has been killed. Death before retreat.
Ostwind headshots that guy. Exposes itself to the second AT gun a little bit though. What is it doing? He engine damages a second KV-8. That will exhaust all of Price's fuel reserves. Finishes off the second AT gun. Luvnest kind of throwing his tanks away a little bit here at the end, maybe because it just doesn't matter. Price has basically nothing remaining. Luvnest could go Tiger Ace to seal the game if he wanted to, or even just another Panzer IV, which is what he's going to do, as long as he can get some infantry in the area to get rid of these field guns, steal them, destroy them, whatever. Price is currently operating on only a conscript and shock troop squad with a damaged engine KV-8. And no combat engineers, he can't even repair it. He can't even repair his KV-8's engine without spending more manpower that he doesn't have. Desperately trying to recover field guns here. He's barely holding on to one fuel point. Trying to get control of a victory point is probably the last thing he's even thinking about right now. Which is bad because he's rapidly running out of time and triple capped with only 80 VPs remaining. Shock troops chase away with a lone squad of Pios over there on the right side. Panzer IV and a third actually, Panzer IV in the queue.
We will bury him later.
MG-42 will be sufficient to slow down these shock troops to get pushed out of the capture circle to keep the triple cap going, and will immediately be forced to retreat by that tank. Triple cap continues. 44 points remain. Captain Price has no way of breaking his containment except for one KV-8, which is not even really able to take on a Panzer IV, much less the entire rest of this huge Osterre Combined Arms veteran army. KV-8 takes engine damage in front of the stolen field gun. Panzer IV moving up on the flank. There is a field gun available to fire on the rear armor of that Panzer IV, depending on how exposed it gets. These team weapons getting broken up by an incendiary barrage, but the KV-8 is destroyed with ease. Combat engineers retreating with barely any health remaining. Field gun about to get decrewed. 8 points remaining. absolutely 100% decisive victory for Luvnest at pretty much all stages, shutting Captain Price's strategy down so hard. Probably the hardest we've ever seen Captain Price get shut down with his Soviet build order. Very impressive stuff. Never even fielded a Tiger race. Pretty much picked elite troops just for the smoke. Just for the smoke and one usage of troop training. Interesting stuff. GG. Luvnest wins and will ascend the star-crossed king's throne.